Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of Bonsai Apprentice. My name's Staten Zahner and today we're going to be working on our Chinese windswept juniper in hopes and preparation for an early repot this spring and some really nice growth. Potentially, as some of you may know, I'm looking to move to Japan once the COVID pandemic, and variants all play out and we can travel internationally again. So the hope is though that I can take some of the trees that I've worked on, this being one of them, with me to continue to develop in Japan, which means that if I go this spring, we got to be ready for that early repot and styling and shipping come this early spring. So today the first thing we're going to do is dewire this tree completely and get it ready and prepped for wiring again. Okay, so it's a constant on-off, get it ready to go battle. We have some places that are going to get cut in, some branches we're going to be removing so we can condense and compact this tree so over the long run it doesn't become out of proportion with itself and it can sustain itself on a smaller root ball when we get to that point. The other thing we'll be doing is talking about how to care for this tree once we remove some of those branches. What's the correct techniques to preserve and take care of this tree throughout the winter. It is mid-December. It's been extremely warm. It's really nice. It's a little chilly today, this morning, but I've got stuff to do this afternoon, so we're doing it now. But other than that, I'm going to bring you in. We're going to show you how to dewire a tree safely, conveniently, effectively, and then if today we get to the point where we start rewiring and making those decisions, we'll do it, but most likely that'll be tomorrow. I'll be wearing something different. Hopefully it's a little bit warmer. So without further ado though, like, share, subscribe. If you enjoy this content, check out my other stuff. There's a whole playlist on this tree that you can check out from how we got from original nursery stock to here. And if you really enjoy the content, you can donate to my GoFundMe. And other than that, we're just going to jump right in. I'm going to bring you in on a branch. We're going to start dewiring. All right. So if we're going to show a branch and explain what we're doing, I really want to show an exterior branch that's got a lot of fanning, a lot of shape you can see. Now this branch obviously put on a lot of growth. It's way too long. And if we left the wire on as is, when we start to remove branches, we're going to get this weird section of, this branch being removed that has wire on it now is interfering with the structure of the other branch. And there's no way to correct that without dewiring. So this time of year, especially because the tree is in dormancy, I would go and approach each branch and each possibility. So I've got this here. Okay, I would come in, you're going to cut it. I would use your wire cutters for sure to try not to cause any more damage to your tree in this time of year that you don't want. Alright, you can get away with like using your hands and dewiring in the summer, in the spring. I think in the winter and fall, you risk hurting your tree. So as I'm coming in here, I'm just cutting the wires. And they're just falling off. And I just approach it from whatever direction is most open. In this case, it's the top. In some cases, it will be the bottom, which I would want to approach from there. So we're just going to be cutting these off, making sure that we're trying not to hurt any of the foliage, pull on it too much, anything like that. Okay? We're just going to do that for the whole tree. I removed a lot of the really bad bite marks. Wire that was biting in really bad earlier this year. But you still are going to have some from just fall expansion, sorry. So just be aware that regardless, what we're trying to do is just protect the foliage right now. Not cause any severe trauma to the tree at the moment. Once we start putting on new wire and bending the branches, obviously that's a whole different story, but for now just making sure we're taking our time and being careful not to get any of the foliage is going to be key. Okay? Hello everyone. I know this is kind of a weird interlude into what we're doing because Christmas happened, New Year's happened. I got the tree dewired. I got it cleaned up a little bit, ready to go. And then I got asked what I wanted for Christmas, and this arrived. That's right, we're doing an unboxing in the middle of this juniper video, and I'm super excited to show you guys what we have in store. Because this box contains a pot, hopefully not broken, but contains a pot that's going to go with that juniper that will repot it in the spring when we need to repot the tree. So, without further ado, we're going to crack this box open. It's going to be an unboxing video. Super excited. And then the next clip that's coming up, we'll just be showing you what the tree with this pot is going to have to do and have to look like. So, let's get to it. Alright, so I'm just going to use my box cutter. Careful when you're using these. Don't cut yourself. Man, it's packaged well. That's good news. You know, you're always afraid that pots will break. But I will say the one thing about this pot that is giving me a little bit of anxiety, nowhere on this box does it say fragile. So we are cutting into a box that transported a pot that doesn't say fragile. So let's hope it's good. It feels well packaged though. So I got this at Bonsai Outlet. So, you know, not sponsored or anything, but it is a place I go quite often. Lots of peanuts. Can't wait to clean all these up off my floor. It's a great time. So, as I toss these, I find the pot. There it is. It feels very well packaged. So, yeah. It doesn't feel like it's in more than one piece. It feels very good. So I'm just gonna alright, so here it is. We're gonna cut it open. Show you guys some more what we've got. Again, be careful with your cutter. Don't cut yourself. But do take your time, be gentle, obviously. You don't want to break your pot upon arrival. Oh, listen to that. Some great ASMR. Oh my, look at that. Oh. Some wire to tie it in. That's nice of them. I don't need it, but that's nice of them. Oh, look at that. It's got, you can see the markings on there. Super exciting. From Japan, so, you know, it's a good quality. You can hear it ring real well. Oh, beautiful sound. Big size. Oh yeah, this will be really, really good for that windswept juniper. I'm super excited. So, what we're going to do, take this back. We'll cut back to the tree. We'll flip it around, get it all going. It'll be really exciting. Hello everyone, and welcome back to, again, another iteration in the same episode. We've been in 3 different spots, but here we are now in my garage. But this is the tree. I'm going to show you the pot that, you know, that you just saw, but here it is again. This is the tree it's going in. I'm going to bring this all in, kind of move around, show what I'm thinking. And we're going to talk about how we're going to make this tree fit in this pot. So let's go ahead and get that comparison rolling and get to work. So when I'm talking about this tree, and you know, this pot, right? Obviously the pot and the tree are, you know, they'll be okay. It's going to be a really good size when, you know, the tree's kind of in this state, right? So we're going to keep coming back to this pot as the reference point for this tree, because as you can see, this tree is big, it's overgrown, it's not padded. you know, we took all that wire off in the first part of this video, and now we have to make some selection choices on, you know, do I want this length? Do I want this heavy back branch for no reason? What do I do with this top, right? These are the questions now that we're starting to ask as we move forward looking at this tree, right? Do I want all this in this pot? And I really don't. So what we're gonna have to do is make some calls about this tree as we work through it, and always coming back and using this pot as the reference point for what we want this tree to look like in this pot, okay? Obviously it's well over potted now. This is a huge just garden container pot that I slip potted it into a 1.5 years ago. So it's definitely ramified enough at this point that it's ready to go into bonsai pot and start its refinement stages, and really start getting really tight, really clean lines, and really nice padding throughout the entire tree. We're well, I guess so 2/3 of the way through January at this point. So when I do this work, the tree will be protected. I'll put it in my cold frame, and come spring, we'll get ready to pot it up, and it should be able to take off. So let's go ahead, let's make some cuts, and let's talk about some decisions and why that's what I'm gonna do. So the first big thing I want to talk about is how long this branch actually is, and whether or not I need all this length down here, which I don't think I do. I think what I can do is honestly get away with maybe half, and honestly I'm even wondering if this branch goes, if I can get away with just having this here, which I think is still going to be a little too short. But I'm thinking over the next growing year, right, if we get rid of this, you know, we're only in maybe 2-3 inches shorter on length from this bottom piece. So what I'm going to do is remove the section, and then we'll see lengthwise how this feels coming in. Okay, this is going to get reduced. It's going to get brought down. I'm not worried about how far this is out when I'm trying to judge how far this stuff's coming out. So my first cut's going to be to remove this branch. Typically, I think what I'm going to do is maybe even leave parts for it to be ginned. So I'm just going to remove the branches, and we're going to leave it there to be ginned next spring. And I, you know, don't think I'm going to use all of it, but just in the sake of keeping the, you know, the length, that already looks much more within portion, but I still think it's going to be too long, but I don't know if I want to make that call yet. I think that might be a very early spring type of call. The next branch that I'm thinking about removing, again, is this big branch here, which is leading a huge roll as well. And it kind of does a funky twist up inside. Let me grab the camera, bring you in, and show you. All right, now that you're in, this is the branch we're talking about. It's kind of does this weird twist, and it's really, really heavy coming out. So you can see all the density that's within this branch. And if we're going to be pulling this apex down and pushing it into this area, this stuff's just going to be in the way too much. So again, I'm going to come in, cut it, remove all of that, and then this now opens up all that space, and again, we'll gin this come spring. So that opens up a lot of possibilities now on some other things that we can do looking at this tree. So you're looking at it from the proposed front, somewhere around there. So what will happen is this will come down, start to fill in that space, and this top will continue to be dropped with a guide wire. Okay, so we'll pull this down, create the apex here, continue to pull all this down to fill that space. Okay, nothing too crazy style wise. But I do need to go and have a couple more talks about length reduction. So again, we have this pad here, which is not bad. It's a really nice pad. It's got some nice ramification to it, right? I always love showing this branch because it's always got nice stuff. But I think it's getting too excessively long. And I need to come in, and I've got nice new buds here that in the coming years, if we ramify, right, going into this new pot, these buds will create very nice, tight foliage, okay? So when we're thinking about replacing branches, especially in junipers, that's something we have to look out for and think about is, okay, where does the future of the branch go? So I think I'm going to remove that branch as well. Cutting back, leaving some room. I'm not going to gen this since it's so far in front, but I will leave some room for dieback. And so when we come in and we pad this back out and make it flat and take all the bottom growth off, stuff like that, and we come back and we trim and tighten all this pad up for next spring so we can get that back budding, so we can get that ramification going, we'll already be in a really good spot on all the branches. This winter, I'm looking at probably taking off somewhere between like 30% of the foliage off this tree. And so most of that are these big cuts already, right? So this is, you know, this is probably a good, you know, 10-15% of the tree to begin with. So now that we've taken this off, a lot of it's going to be all that small cleaning work, small cutting back work, right? So that's what we're looking for. This tree naturally has really nice tight foliage. You can see how dense it is. And that's because every year it just puts on so much and it's so tight and it's gorgeous. So we really have a strong leeway with how healthy this tree is to really push this tree forward this spring with some pretty balanced fertilizer and some really nice work. So from this point, the goal is going to be to go ahead. We're going to go start cleaning all these branches, removing the really fine stuff, cutting all these pads back, getting the under stuff cut off, anything that's really, you know, growing straight down or whatever. We'll get rid of that so we can make really clean lines and we can start this process. And we'll start wiring the tree and all that good jazz. So I'm just going to come back when I've got it all trimmed up, ready to go, because I know for a fact it's going to be one of those long videos. It's wiring, and this video's already got 3 iterations to it. So, you know, it's going to be one of those where we just got to start playing along and hoping that this video comes out well, because it's just taken so much time. So, and it's important, but, you know, it's that time-lapse type of feel to it. So, though I know it's going to be a 20-minute video anyways, so I'm rambling. So I'm just going to get to it. So I'll see you when I get everything cleaned up and ready to go. All right, everyone, welcome back. Thanks for sticking with it to the end here. So as you can see, I cut quite a bit of this tree off. But as I'm coming all the way around, it's turning out really, really good. And you can see maybe the apex is still a little straggly. You might be able to tell. But that's just because I'm not sure if we're going to change this potting angle any when we actually get it potted. I'm not sure how far this tree is buried, since I never really messed with it when I slip potted it. I just put it at the angle I knew I wanted, and we went from there. So when I come back in and we find that nabari and we find the root ball, and we're going, I'll adjust that, and then I'll adjust the apex as well, so that we don't have any conflicting ways of twisting the apex, because, you know, you got to put the wire on the right way. I'm not really sure which way it needs to go yet, so it doesn't make sense to wire it. The other thing I did was took all the major branches and put them in a pot with some soil to try and make cuttings. It is absolutely the wrong time of year to try and do this. I realize that, but I don't want to. I'm not trying to waste any of the foliage on this very nice Chinese juniper. It's very tight, very good coloring, and it's variegated, so the yellows come out on the tips. It's really, really nice. I don't want to waste any if I can. So I'm going to try and get some cuttings out of it, bring it indoors, cover it up with a bag, like a trash bag, keep up that high humidity and higher heat, and hopefully we can get something out of it, and these stay and they live, which I'm honestly not sure if they will, but I want to at least try. So if you have any questions, comments, concerns, leave them in the comments below. I'll get to them. And if you like the video, like the video. If you want to follow me, go ahead and do that. That'd be awesome. And hit that notification bell, because in the spring here, in about two and a half months, we will be getting this into its new pot, and I'm super excited for it, okay? Thank you for watching the first video of 2022. It's been a roller coaster of a video that's been a month and a half in the making, but I think the results really turned out well. So I'll give you a full panoramic with nothing in the background distracting to look at this tree, and we'll sign out from there. So sayonara.